Check, check. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's go!
What jersey you got on there?
Lucius Purifoy.
Oh, Purifoy. So how many jerseys do you got?
14.
What?
Yeah.
I have a buddy that goes to the game in Weyburn, and he has 11, I think. I think he may have bought his 12th. 14.
Yes.
Can you name them all?
Yeah. So I guess we'll go in numerical order. Lawther.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Lance Fraser, which
Yep,
I don't
15.
wear anymore because I wore him to the 2013 Grey Cup and it's too sacred to wear again.
Yeah. Okay.
Fairholm.
Yep.
Brady and Lennius, number 19.
Oh.
Good old Tom Campana.
Yeah.
Christian Jones, 26. Purifoy, 28. We've got a Zarka, 33. Greg Jones, 35, middle linebacker.
Yeah.
10 years ago. Brackenridge, 41. Now that's up to 10. I've got a Simon, 81, an Elgard, 81, a Barwell, 71, Getzlaff, 89. I had a Stearns, 83. I had a what's the guy's name? He Dowdy. Chad Kilgore, number 50, middle linebacker,
Yeah.
number 50. That's my watermelon jersey. And what's the last one there?
That feels like it's more than 14.
Yeah, maybe, who knows? Yeah, I lose track.
But why Kilgore? Why some of these obscure names like Jones and stuff like not Ty Jones, Greg Jones? Like why some obscure names like that?
Because I bought it in the heat of the moment, thinking Chad Kilgore is going to be like that Maurice Lloyd type middle linebacker who's going to be here for a decade. Basically plays a game and a half, breaks his thumb, and he's done. Greg Jones, another really good middle linebacker from Michigan State, played with the Riders, had a decent couple of games, but then, I don't like having jerseys with quarterbacks on them because invariably they go somewhere else, and then you sort of get the hate of wearing another. The quarterback goes somewhere else. So that's always the tough part.
Yeah, so I credit you. I think, and I don't know if I've said this to you before, but I have said this on this podcast. I believe that CFL teams should redo their jerseys every 5 years because it's a great revenue stream. Like for the Rough Riders, it got them out of a deficit. Like, let's be honest, it wasn't ticket sales that got them the revenue. It was the Mark Habick with this jerseys that he came out with.
Fair point. I think, obviously in a league like the CFL where in no way, you're not like the NFL. Like there's no multi-billion-dollar TV contract. Any way that you can try to sort of squeeze the juice of the revenue lemon, more power to you.
Okay, hold on one second. Just give me 1 second. I'm wearing a Bombers shirt for obvious reasons, but give me a second here. Just give me a second. This is the only Rider thing I have. It's
there you go.
All autographed 22 jersey because that's when the year I became the voice of the team. And Jim Hobson autographed it when I had lunch at his house. We had a 3-hour lunch. That was probably one of the greatest times of my life. Hold on one second. That was one of the greatest times of my life, just sitting talking football and everything like that. And he had high hopes. He had high hopes for Corey Mace and was looking to be in the stands. Corey Mace's first game as a head coach. Obviously, that never happened. So Jim would be very pumped to see the Saskatchewan Roughriders in the Grey Cup against the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, as I'm sure you are, as I'm sure the organizers in Winnipeg are, because had it been a BC-Montreal one, we could have seen a thin crowd like we had here in 2022 when the Riders hosted and the Bombers played the Argos. Let's just go back to the Rider game, okay? It was, listen, Corey Mace is going to be coach of the year. Corey Mace is an excellent coach. He's the reason why this football team is where it's at. Let's just be honest. He's the culture changer, in my opinion. He's the one thing that's really changed about this team. But let's not call him a genius, okay? He looks like a genius. I think that was on both sides of the sidelines. That was the worst coaching in the last 2 minutes and 30 seconds. Corey Mace, if you're going to go for it when the game isn't on the line for a touchdown and get it, and I thought it was a great call then, why wouldn't you go for it? If you really trusted your defense, why wouldn't you go for it there on third down? Because a field goal really does you no good at that point. Okay, in hindsight, you can say it did. Okay, so that's a bad move. But then, Buck Pierce, Buck, you have Nathan Rourke rolling out the whole game. The Riders can't control it. You only need 1 or 2 first downs to cinch the game away. So what do? You hand it off to the running back with a wonky ankle to start the game, and then do a delayed quarterback draw when the Riders have 8 in the box and they're not playing man. They're watching the quarterback. That's what they've always done on defense. Okay? So there's Corey Mace, Buck Pierce, supplants him on the dumb meter, and then over him is Mike Benavides. If there's one thing you can't do, Keith Willoughby, it's rush 3 guys against the surgeon Trevor Harris. Like, what are you doing?
Ballsy, you nailed it right on the head. In fact, so let's go in the order in which you discussed. Let's begin with Mace.
Yeah.
To me, Mace went against every analytical model that you'd look at in terms of what you need to do with, say, 2 minutes and change left in the game. When you're on the 5-yard line, you're 3rd and goal, just go for it. If you don't get it, you hem the team in. Even if they get a first down or 2, they're going to be punting, and you're getting the ball with decent field position. So obviously there's that issue right there. Buck Pierce, when you are controlling like Rourke did for a lot of the scrambling, the Houdini-like things that Nathan Rourke was doing, why you don't basically have him roll out, try to pass the ball. To me, what happened in that last, say, 2 minutes of the game, the Lions played not to lose instead of trying to win the game. And there is a dramatic difference there.
Yep.
But on top of that is Mike bye-bye Benavides. How in the world do you rush 3 players? Again, I'm bleeding green and white. I'm going emotional in the stands, watching the last minute thinking, is this another one of the 2019 where Cody's going to clank it off the crossbar? Yeah. Is this 2009 13th man game? Is this 2010 Darien trying to do it against the Als in the Grey Cup in Edmonton? I had an inkling we would get the touchdown after the very first play when Benavides rushes 3. Emelis is reasonably wide open. We get into plus territory, and then basically it cascaded after that. That was some very curious coaching by coaches who should have known better. Again, I'll tip my cap to Mace. He won the game. Had he not won the game, there would be, over the next 6 months, a steady stream of calls going to the Riders wondering, what in the world were you doing? When basically, let's at least try to tie the game as opposed to getting the field goal. Again, I think it played into the Riders' favor only because the Lions made a more egregious decision with coaching, where they played again so conservatively, basically not wanting to go even anything that was remotely aggressive. You get into the situation again. They played not to lose the game, and that played right into the Riders' favor.
So let's talk about the 2 quarterbacks, and let's tip our cap or helmet to Trevor Harris. 39-year-old graybeard. He had to, I say that jokingly, when he had to run, he ran. I mean, it's never Picasso. It's more paint by numbers when he runs. But, hey, he did it. When he had to run, he did. And on that last drive, that was a legacy drive for him. That is a Hall of Fame, save your career in terms of being a Hall of Famer drive for him. And he took 2 big shots throwing that ball in that drive. Like, the very first one was right here in the solar plexus, and I thought, this guy, he's going to be... What people don't realize is when quarterbacks get hit like that, like if another player gets hit like that, like say Emelis gets hit like that, he's in the huddle, and you're like, okay, we're not going to go to you, Sam, just go stand off to the side. If Trevor Harris, he's got to call the play in the huddle, he's got to get the guys lined up, he's got to yell over the crowd, even though they're at home, it's still loud, he's got to keep, he directs the whole offense. So kudos to him, like tip of the cap to him on that legacy drive. That's what I'm calling it.
Well said. And Ballsy, I'd say for 57 or 58 minutes of the game, Trevor Harris looked arthritic. He looked like an arthritic 39-year-old quarterback. In fact, I thought sitting in the stands that Harris was the quarterback who was more impacted by the colder weather. The passes had limited zing. He was lobbing some passes in there. I believe he targeted KSB 10 times in the game, and Schaefer Baker only had 3 receptions. And so he seemed to be able to get any rhythm, any flow, any cadence, any juice with the passing game. So again, absent the last maybe 2 minutes of the game, there wasn't a whole lot from Trevor Harris that I was really excited about. Again, I know percentage-wise he was like almost 70%, but again, it wasn't until that last drive where he really started to get in the flow, I thought.
Yeah, and the Riders did start picking it up in the second half when they decided to really feed A.J. Ouellette, and they got A.J. going, and, he is, I think, their offensive MVP. But like I said, kudos to Trevor Harris. But the man, people don't want to do it, but the man who should be celebrated in a loss is Nathan Rourke. He is the face of this league. He's the most outstanding player, and it's not particularly close this year. He's the most outstanding Canadian, and we should celebrate him that he's a Canadian. Like, I can't remember. Well, no, I can remember, but I'm trying to think. I think other than, he's the first quarterback since Doug Flutie to make me get out of my seat and go, what did he just do? That's how I felt when especially watching that game, especially that play to Butler where he's going down.
That one, exactly. Again, that one was in the fourth quarter. There was a play that Rourke made. It was the last play of the third quarter. The Lions, I believe, were 2nd and 17, 2nd and 16, and he found Javon Cotoy. And I think the pass was 8 or 10 yards. There was some pressure on Rourke. Cotoy was able to get the first down because the Rider defenders made a perfect impersonation of an open door and allowed Cotoy to run right through them. But the narrative, with about 5 minutes left in the game, as I was sort of mulling over my thoughts, I was thinking, I don't know if I want to put Rourke yet on Mount Rushmore, but again, I never saw the fullness of Lancaster's career. I came in when he had probably 5 or 6 years left in his career. But I've always thought in my mind, in no particular order, Flutie, Austin, Anthony Calvillo, put in Tracy Ham. I saw Tom Clements play. Warren Moon, exactly. And I was thinking, Rourke is getting up into that level because the plays he was making in a colder weather environment where the Lions have not won an outdoor playoff game since, I think, 2009.
Yeah.
Rourke was doing some amazing things. So again, as a Rider fan, I tip the cap quite enthusiastically to what Rourke was doing on the field.
Okay, and so let's talk about give some kudos to. I've been critical of Jeremy O'Day at times, but I'm also man enough to know, as you know, to say when I'm wrong or to give kudos. So let's give kudos. That receiving core, the Canadian receiving core, you can't find a deeper, better receiving core in the last 5 years with all their interchangeable parts. And what an offseason addition with Tommy Neild. Not just because of that touchdown, but touchdown Tommy has made some big catches. When Trevor needs a play, he goes to touchdown Tommy Neild.
Well said. And in fact, there's very few CFL teams that have the luxury of dressing 4 American offensive linemen.
Yes.
And the ability, again, once Tate miraculously comes back from the injured list and he's ready to go, the Riders make the strategic decision of putting in 4 Americans in the O-line. You can only do that because you've got to have Canadians playing receiver. So obviously KSB and MLS draft picks under the O'Day regime. Neild, an incredibly astute free agent signing. Del Duncan Busby, again, another draft pick. Ajo and Mitch Picton, who, again, stellar Canadian receivers, aren't able to see the field because you've got 4 Canadians out there who are playing at a top level. I know Dell had a drop, a couple drops in the game, but you can tell that Harris was relying upon the trio of KSB, MLS, and touchdown Tommy to get the job done.
Yeah, and I'm not going to be overly critical because anybody that says that's football, Weathers never really played football, and it's like kicking and catching a brick. So, yeah, another guy that's I know he shanked a couple, but Mirko's been a nice, he's been a nice addition there. I was not overly enamored with the punting of Joe Couch, but Mirko's got that, he's got that cross-field, coffin corner kick down.
Well, yeah, interestingly enough, the one that he put down on the 7-yard line, then the lines went 103 yards for a touchdown.
Yeah,
And
9 plays.
I was probably the only Rider fan in the stands on I think it was Mirko's first punt of the game when he put it in for the Rouge. Thinking, what are you doing? Like the Riders basically got 1 point and gained, I think it was 13 yards of field position. Again, so, he's not Bob Cameron. And I've always thought Bob Cameron was the greatest punter I've ever seen. He could punt into the wind in Taylor Field better than a lot of players could kick with the wind. But again, I think it's a step above Couch's performance for sure.
Okay, so so the Rough Riders win that game, and they're going to Winnipeg to take on the Montreal Alouettes. A chance to exact revenge. Now, two totally different teams in terms of eras. But 2009, we know how that one ended. 2010, Montreal was pretty well full marks for that victory. I'm not saying they weren't for 09, but it was more, once again, Riders losing than Montreal winning. And just kind of like the Lions, like I mentioned. But here's an opportunity for the Rough Riders to exact some revenge. I honestly would say Montreal is going to win this game, except that Davis Alexander has a tweaked hammy, and I think at the end of the day, those soft tissue injuries don't just heal quickly, and I think that's going to be a big determining factor in this game. If he could run and move, then the Riders have some trouble because they've got two good running backs, they've got a solid receiving core across the board, they've got a solid O-line, and their defense is better than BC's. But I just think the Riders will have enough to pull this one out. That's how I feel anyway.
Yeah, the Riders have never defeated the Montreal Alouettes in a Grey Cup. Again, not a huge sample size. I think they've only played them twice.
Twice, yeah.
It was the 09 and the 2010 game.
Yeah.
As a Rider fan, to me, I think there's a bit of a destiny factor with this team. Again, obviously, I see it through my lens, being a Rider fan.
Yeah.
As a Rider fan, two players who worry me: Tyson Philpott and Stevie Scott. Scott has a running back. Again, came out of Indiana, a really good program in the Big Ten. He can pile up some yards, and we saw what Philpott did in the home game when Montreal came here. Again, I know it was against a depleted roster at secondary, but I think if the Riders can, to me, their chance of winning is controlling Scott and controlling Philpott. You said the Alexander injury does obviously provide a bit of a question mark for Montreal's QB position. The guy can't win every game. Like, he's 13-0. Like, wow. Like, that's
But
like
if he wins, yeah, he can't, but he keeps doing it. And whether you like him or not, listen, he beat my kid's team and he was cocky doing it. But listen, I can't have it both ways. I want a guy that you can market. I want a guy that plays the villain like a Henry Burris. We're getting that right now with Davis Alexander, and he's a winner. And if he wins this game, it's the greatest start in the history of the CFL to a quarterbacking career.
And wasn't Alexander's first game, wasn't it the Montreal game last year against Saskatchewan in Montreal when I think it was Caleb Evans was ineffective and then injured, and then Alexander comes in, who's this guy, and leads the Als back for I think from a 16-point deficit at halftime.
Yeah, Riders haven't really, this version of the Riders haven't faced him. He was also the guy that ran on the sidelines when he was out of bounds, but wasn't out of bounds, remember? Here at Mosaic Stadium. So I think it's going to be a really exciting football game. I think this is going to be a classic, and I hope it's a classic. It's funny, though. We're talking about changing the rules, and the games have been outstanding. BC, Calgary, Winnipeg, Montreal, Saskatchewan, BC, Montreal, Hamilton, a walk-off field goal. That game was defensive struggle, but it came down to the wire. They've been all great games. And you know something, Keith? Depending how they do this 35-second play clock, you realize that game wouldn't have the Riders wouldn't have won that game. The Riders wouldn't have won that game. Depending on, I don't like it. I don't like it.
Yeah, Ballsy, I think there's some mechanics that need to be worked out with the new rules, because you look at the Riders' last drive. Again, Harris goes to Emelis, then the incompletion, throws again to Emelis, then to AJ, then does the pass to Dante Myers down to the 3, and then the touchdown pass to Tommy touchdown. That, to me, again, wouldn't happen in the NFL, because I think we got off 7 or 8 plays with inside of a minute.
Yeah.
Ballsy, I've been following the CFL for decades, and when Winnipeg played Montreal, and it was a 9-point victory, I thought, that was an instant classic. But every game since then, again, all settled. So basically, you had 4 games that were settled by a total of 18 points, all to me instant classics. There's never been a season like this for the playoffs. So I hope that the tweaking of the brand of football doesn't erode the late game heroics, because that's what draws me to the CFL. Because when there's a minute left, again, part of me was I was yelling, hoping the Riders wouldn't score too early against the Lions.
Yeah.
Again, 11 seconds, not a lot's going to happen. But hey, if they'd given Rourke 25, 30 seconds, you know what was going to happen. He was going to go down for a tying field goal.
So it's been announced that they're going to get the play in the Olympics in 2028. I like that. I mean, I don't know how it's going to look in terms of taking a break, if they take like an Olympic break like the NHL does in our season. But I think it's awesome for the league, and hopefully they market the shit out of it. Like, hopefully they don't drop the ball. Like, the league really dropped the ball here this year in terms of the whole Trump tariff and elbows up and all that stuff. It was given to them on a single silver platter, and they didn't do anything with it. This is the Canadian League. They should have been pumping the crap out of that, and they just didn't do it. So I hope they really promote this, because this could, flag football's catching on, right? Catching on at the grassroots. Regina is one of the best in all of North America. In fact, 2 years ago, it was awarded the best NFL flag youth football league in all of North America in LA. Mike Thomas went down there to take the award. So, I like it. I'm assuming you like it too.
I do. And in fact, I think on the CFL website today, they had an article about the 2028 Olympics, I think with a picture of Tyson and Jalen Philpott.
Yeah.
Which, again, there are other good Canadians. The Philpott twins, remarkable. Mm-hmm. But, there's some tremendous athletes. In fact, it seems years ago the running back position was viewed as the American entity on the team. Yep. But think back to the days of John Cornish, obviously Brady Oliveira, Andrew Harris, who still looks like he can run the ball. That man's in great shape. To me, there are athletes playing north of the border who do really, really well. And to me, it bodes well. From my perspective, it bodes well for the CFL. And I really hope they keep the C in the CFL.
Tip of the cap, too, to Andrew Harris for the job he's done as a running backs coach. I think he did a lot to help his old teammate, A.J. Ouellette. We both thought he was washed. A.J. came in, did the right things with his body, but I think Andrew Harris's tutelage has really helped him. And then Edwin Harrison, the O-line coach. Because I'll tell you what, I know Jamarcus Hardrick's probably going to win the outstanding offensive lineman, and he should. He had a great year. But the best offensive lineman in the Canadian Football League is Logan Ferland. I'll stand by that. Did you see him, the way he was road grading in that game?
Yeah, well, and I'll pay homage. He and I are former Melfort Comets.
Okay, there you go.
Again, I am nowhere near his ability. I played one season, basically, third deep on the bench, unlike Logan, who's like a star. But it's I'm thinking for the Grey Cup. To me, the Grey Cup, it will hinge on A.J. Ouellette's ability to run the ball and the O-line's ability to protect Harris and create the holes for Ouellette. If the holes aren't there, and if Harris is under pressure, it's going to be a long night for the Riders. But I think when I see the performance of the team this year, and I was very critical in the 2024 campaign of A.J., who felt like a free agent bust, a lot of money for limited performance. This year, we saw what a healthier Ouellette can do. I wish he wouldn't try to leap over everybody, because he had the fumble. He had the fumble.
Hurdling's no good. I don't like anybody hurdling. Unless
you lose your leverage and you get the ball popped out.
Yeah. Hey, so is it going to be a home game? Do you think this is a home game for the Riders? It's in Winnipeg. Let's be honest, the Rider fans didn't cheer for the Bombers here, those that went. There's going to be Bomber fans going, but is this a home game? Will there be enough green and white to make this kind of a home feel, even though the Riders are on the visiting bench with the white jerseys and all that stuff?
I'm thinking it's going to be a lot like 2022. I was not at the game. Again, I'm season ticket holder, but decided not to go to the game. It was the Toronto-Winnipeg Grey Cup in Mosaic. I think, to me, it'll be pretty close. But it's not going to be overwhelming. It's not going to be like 2009 in McMahon, when it was probably 3/4 or more Rider fans. I think the Winnipeg fans who are there, they're going to cheer for Montreal. Hey, let's face it. If I were a Rider fan, and you got your hated rival in, you're not going to cheer for them. So I think you're going to see a healthy portion of the crowd cheering for the Alouettes. Yeah, they'll be Rider Nation will be there, but it's not going to be like it was in 2009 in Calgary.
So you're a dean presiding over the Edwards School of Business in Saskatoon, and every dean who has presided over that school has had a Rider team go to the Grey Cup, and you have not. So you're smiling like a butcher's dog because your team is going to the Grey Cup. So that's a cool thing. I like the fact that it's like right next to our backyard. So they're. In a way, I'm happy the Riders are there because there's a lot of guys on that team that deserve a shot at a ring, like Furland, like Jorgen Hughes, like Jaden Dahlke, like Mitch Picton, like A.J. Allen, who's been the breakout player of the year. Like I said, he'd be Brett Lothar, despite his struggles. Like, there's a lot of good guys on that team. Tavon Campbell was a nice signing, too. So, but then on the other side, we talk about the great coaches, okay? We're talking about the great coaches of all in the league. Dinwiddie's right there, Mike O'Shea. But how about Jason Moss? He's been to two of the last three Grey Cups.
Yeah, for a coach that we basically ran out of Riderville, because didn't like the offensive schemes, and credit the man. He's done well. Made a gutsy decision in terms of whether he would keep Cody or let Cody go. And you've seen this year the impact of Moss's coaching. Obviously, Alexander really moves the needle with that team, but Moss is establishing himself as he's an elite coach in the league. The ability to go to two Grey Cups inside of a couple of years, again, not too shabby on his perspective.
So I think Corey Mace will get the Coach of the Year award because he got his team the best record that in the league since 1976. First time that happened. First place. They've taken a step ahead. But let's not discount Jason Moss. To get to the Grey Cup with the injuries they've had, especially at the quarterback position, that's a pretty good coaching job there in Montreal.
True, and weren't they at one time 5-7 this season?
Yeah.
They went through a real lull. We talked about, again, the Riders, sort of at the end of the season sort of plateaued, but the Owls were nosediving when they had the injuries, but Moss brought him back in a good way.
So before I get the predictions from the computer and everything like that, the other talk happens to be in Winnipeg. Mike O'Shea and will he go to Toronto, be the head coach? I don't think Mike O'Shea leaves. I don't. I don't have any inside information. The vibe that my son got at the end of the season was Mike O'Shea doesn't want to. He just wants to tweak. He doesn't want to blow his team up. He doesn't want to rebuild. He loves Winnipeg. He's got a nice home. He's well liked. His family loves Winnipeg. Like, there's lots going there. But his mom's in Toronto. He's best friends with Mike Pinball Clemens. They'll probably throw a boatload of money at him. But I just don't see him leaving. That's my first part of the question. Do you see Mike O'Shea leaving?
100% yes.
Think he's gone?
I think he's gone to Toronto. I think Pinball Clemens is the key factor in that.
Yeah.
You're better acquainted with the situation, but just from what I've seen through articles I've read and some folks I've listened to, I would say that he's gone to Toronto. He was a great Argo player for years. I think he went to Guelph.
Guelph, Argo player. Well, Hamilton Tiger Cat, Argo player.
And then Argo.
I guess it all depends what you want, because in Winnipeg, you're right there with Bud Grant. He loves the community. It's a big-time community. They love their football. In Toronto, nobody gives a shit. If Doug Flutie can't get him to come, if 2 out of the last 3 Grey Cups can't get him to come, they're not coming for Mike O'Shea. But I don't think Mike O'Shea's not that kind of guy, what I've gathered in talking with my son, so that really doesn't matter that much to him. Ryan Dinwiddie sure didn't paint a very good picture of the Argos when he left, so I don't know if Mike wants to walk into that. I think Mike's back. So you think he's not back. If Mike O'Shea is not back and the Riders win the Grey Cup, if you're the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, the first guy I'm interviewing is Mark Mueller. I'm taking Mark Mueller, who I've said for years would be a great Canadian coach. And what he's done with Trevor Harris this year, I remember driving on the bus with Trevor Harris in 2023, and he asked me, we both knew there was probably something going to be going on with the team, and we're sitting on the bus, and he said, "So tell me about this Mueller guy." I said, "You're going to meet Mark Mueller, and he's going to be one of the best guys you've ever been around. You're not as a person, as a coach. He's a collaborator. But he's a dude, you're just going to love him. And then I texted Trevor after, and he's like, you're absolutely right, Ballsy. Like, he is the best guy I've been around. Look what Mark's done with 39-year-old Trevor Harris.
Well said. And again, I think back being a U of S Husky fan, 10, 12, 14 years ago, watching Mueller play with the Rams when he came up to play at Griffiths. So obviously somebody, he's well connected to the Canadian game, well connected to the Prairie Provinces. I'd be sad if he left, because it's nice having that Lancaster lineage representing the coaching staff. I've got Noel Thorpe heading to Winnipeg. That's sort of just what I would see. The D coordinator in Montreal. Again, to me, he's been one of the stellar coordinators for a long time. But that's what I would see from sort of the Winnipeg perspective. I don't know who is in the wings in terms of an assistant coach in Winnipeg that might want to vault into the head coaching position, but that's what I'm sort of thinking right now.
It'd be interesting, because you'd think Mike O'Shea, if he goes, he could take all his coordinators and everybody.
What's up? Where's Richie Hall now?
Richie Hall's still in Winnipeg. He's a senior assistant. Well, he's in Regina now. He lives here, but senior assistant, and who knows if he's retained? Probably not. So that could be the end of Richie Hall, which people would be excited around here, because then he could go into the Plaza of Honor and be one of the greatest inductions of all time. Like, he'd be right up there with Lancaster and Reed. Like, he's won 3 of the 4 Grey Cups that they've won to this point as we talk right now.
Exactly.
And beloved. Like, he's one of the Bombers that you don't hate.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So, okay. So let's talk about the game here coming up in terms of predictions. Before I get to your score or whatever, or reiterate your score, because we know you're picking the Riders, what does the computer say?
All in on Montreal. 61% probability that the Owls win the Grey Cup on Sunday in Winnipeg. Basically focusing on a couple things. Montreal's won 5 of their last 6 in the regular season. Their only loss was the last game of the regular season in Winnipeg.
Yeah,
Montreal also, they beat Saskatchewan handily. Again, the computer doesn't know it was a depleted roster for the Riders, but hey, they won handily middle of September in Mosaic. The Riders plateaued basically since the Banjo Bowl, but it's got the Owls 61% probability of winning the Grey Cup.
And that's interesting, and I get it. I can't. That's the one thing for the Riders. I've been waiting for them to play a full game, and they really haven't. Or am I wrong with that? I don't think they've played a full game this year.
Other than maybe the road game in Montreal, again, when the Owls had a depleted roster, that 34-6 game, that might have been their most complete 60-minute effort all season, because they didn't have a lot of blowouts. They had a good effort. The home game in late June against BC, I think, was a good game. But they basically clawed their way through a lot of games. The back-to-back against Winnipeg, 2 very close games. Even Toronto and Ottawa at the end of the season, weaker teams, not in the playoffs. They eked by both of those teams.
I say the Riders win. Not that I'm cheering for them or that I necessarily want them to win, but I say the Riders win 27-24 on a Brett Lothar 45-yard field goal. I think that would just be in Winnipeg. Fans have wanted to run him out of town, as we want to do in Regina and Saskatchewan, and he, Mr. Rough Rider the last however many years, walks off the hero. A walk-off field goal, 27-24. It's got to be a walk-off. Montreal walked the Riders off in 2009.
Yeah, and interesting you say 27-24. That was the score of the 72 West final. Remember the heroic comeback when Lancaster brought it back and Jack Abinchan misses the field goal. They punt the ball back and forth, and Abinchan kicks it again for the field goal. I've got a similar score. I'm going to go 25-20.
Okay.
It's a defensive-ish struggle, and at the end of the game, Lothar nails a field goal to give him a 5-point cushion, and the rest is history. I got A.J. Ouellette as the game's MOP.
Okay. Who's the most outstanding Canadian in that game?
Either Emilus or Philpott.
Okay, so I'm going to go most outstanding Canadian will be Brett Lothar because he hits the field goal. And the most outstanding player, probably A.J. Ouellette. I agree. If the Riders win. If Montreal won, your MOP is going to be Stevie Smith. And your MOP will be Darnell Sankey. And your most outstanding Canadian will probably be Philpott.
Philpott, yeah. Well, Sankey, another former rider that I know Jameer Thurman is a great middle linebacker, but Sankey, boy, can that man play football?
Yeah. Hey, are the Huskies going to beat Queens? That's an interesting one. The Rams had that game.
Yeah.
They fumbled a punt, and then kudos to the Huskies. They found a way to win, and Queens knocks off Laurier. So are the Huskies going to win here out west and go to the Vanier Cup?
Well, yes, of course. I hope they. I hope they are. It was ballsy. That was a historic Saturday. Within the space of a few hours, Huskies 15 points trailing in the fourth quarter. Riders trailing by 7. Both teams won. Huskies and Rams, to me, they could play 10 times. They'll be 5-5. In fact, you saw last year when the Rams beat the Huskies at Griffiths to win the Hardy Cup. I don't know what to expect from Queens because, again, it's not like I know their roster. But give it up for the Huskies. Flory has done a great job with that team. They've got the tools on offense with Riker Frank as running back to make some noise. It's just that their pathway to the Vanier Cup usually ends up stubbing their toe against Laval, which this year was defeated by Montreal.
Yeah.
So again, maybe wouldn't that be a wonderful November? The Hilltops won the national championship, beat Okanagan Sun 21-18. Yep. Wouldn't that be cool if we get a situation where the Huskies play Mosaic and then end up beating University of Montreal for the Vanier?
Well, people in Regina aren't doing jumping jacks over that, but it's kind of bad because you think about it, the Thunder gassed a lead, exactly the same lead against the Hilltops, and the Rams gassed the exact same lead against the Huskies. It's kind of crazy how that goes. So we'll see. It's a great week of football coming up here in Saskatchewan. Can't wait. Thanks for your time, man. I always appreciate it.
Thanks, Ballsy. Talk to you later.
Athletes aren't built during the season. They're built here in the off-season, where real progress happens. At the Den Sports Performance and Agility Center, they don't just train, they develop. For athletes ages 13 to 17, they offer team packages and individual group training with up to 5 weekly sessions of your choice of dryland or strength-focused work. Every program blends strength, agility, balance, mobility, speed, and recovery with a focus on durability that most programs overlook. Because showing up on game day means staying strong all season. Every session is coached by a certified speed and strength specialist and focused on long-term athletic success, not quick fixes. Flexible programming, real results. The Den Sports Performance and Agility Center is where serious athletes level up. Book your spot now at thedenyqr.ca. Okay, as we talk today, Mason, it's a Remembrance Day. Just, we get to talk sports and do all this stuff because of what people did way before us and continue to do for us. So just maybe shout out to, military servicemen and women, because I'm not wearing my poppy here. I got it on my jacket. You can only have so many poppies. But just your thoughts on that.
Yeah, 100%. Obviously, it's not lost on myself or anyone of us at the U of S here that we are extremely privileged in our freedom in this country, and that's obviously lives lost and people dedicate their lives to that, and we're extremely grateful for that. Obviously, we've had many military here to support the troops games here at the U of S. We have our support the troop jerseys here, and we definitely take great pride in honoring our service members in the Canadian Armed Forces. So yeah, obviously a day to remember, and 100%.
So Anton, your quarterback is out. You've got your backup quarterback in there. How exciting of a challenge has it been for you as a coach? And just talk about the excitement in seeing a guy develop really on the fly in some real, put young Mason, not like you're the greatest quarterback right now, arguably in Huskies history, but think about this. This kid comes in and he's not coming in for the final snaps of a game in Alberta where you're 7-1. He's got to carry the mail, man.
100%. Matt, it's been a cool experience for myself. I mean, as a coach, I got to obviously work with a full depth chart of quarterbacks at UBC and U of S, but I was working with Garrett Rooker, who, in my opinion, is one of the best quarterbacks in the country when he played, elite guy. I come here, I'm working with Anton Amadou. Obviously, I think he's a top-level quarterback, elite guy. I know them both very well. I played with Anton. I played against Garrett. all that stuff. And then obviously Anton not being in, playing or working with Jake. Obviously, he's way younger than both Garrett and Anton. I never had a prior relationship with Jake. But man, he's the definition of a kid that has moxie, just he's got he's kind of a master of none. I mean, he has a solid arm. He doesn't have Anton level arm strength, but he has a good arm. He's not like Lamar Jackson running, but he's fast enough to go take off, get first downs. And man, he just plays a heady football game. He's just got confidence. He's got some swagger to him. And yeah, it's been fun working with Scott and the offensive staff here to really get to stuff that Jake does best. And I think we've done a good job of that offensively, and Jake's done a great job of kind of taking the reins when he's needed to, and stepped up in a big way for us. So yeah, he's been awesome.
So how much have you got to be a counselor? Because part of being a coach is being a coach, and part of it's being a counselor. It is, no matter what level you're on.
For sure.
Guys not getting the ball enough, guys frustrated because whatever. How much has that been for you with the younger guy? And I don't mean that negatively towards your younger quarterback, but how much have you taken on a counselor's hat?
For sure, here and there. And that, like you mentioned, it's with everybody. It's really with everybody. And you have to treat every player differently. I mean, in general, not just Jake, but in general, myself included, quarterbacks, you treat your quarterbacks differently than everyone else because they have different circumstances that go in playing position. You have to think a lot. You have to be calm, cool, collected. So, I mean, it's kind of funny when you're working through the film on the iPad with him on the sidelines. I got my Perry Nice, Michael Ball radio voice on. Hey, Jake, man, I love that. That's good. You're seeing that. Okay, 1 second. I'm going to just hop on with Ivy, our assistant head coach. You tell whoever to get going, blah, blah, blah. And then you hop back on with Jake. Yeah, man, it's good stuff. That's good stuff. But so we joke about that a lot. But, yeah, no, I'm just trying to be a calm, cool presence for him. He's never going to meet the enemy on the sidelines like nobody will on our team. We're a very supportive staff. Obviously, we demand a lot from our guys. But no one's ever going to meet the enemy when they come to the sidelines after a mistake or something like that. We're just trying to get better and improve stuff. So yeah, there's definitely some of that involved with it.
So I don't know how Ethan is. My Ethan is as cool and calm as he is. Maybe he thinks after his mom a little bit because I'm more of a hothead. I'm a clear thinker, but I'm a hothead. Would you say you got a lot of that from your dad and your mom? Like your mom and dad are pretty like even keel. I've seen your dad mad. We've had many conversations, but when your dad's in the public, he's just like pretty even keel, man.
For sure, yeah. I definitely come by it honestly. I think they're pretty. I mean, I got raised in everyone's household and childhood and development is different, but I got raised in a household where I didn't really ever hear my mom and dad yell before, and so I don't necessarily as a player I didn't respond well to it. Don't want to call myself soft or anything, but I respond to very like calm, cool, collected information and communication. I think other people respond to that well too, especially this new age and generation of players. So I think I fit that mold well as a coach. And I think it's great for quarterbacks as well. At least biasly, I think it's great because I coach quarterbacks, but I think quarterbacks respond really well too. Obviously, you make a mistake. You know, if you threw an interception, you know you screwed up somewhere. So you don't need me absolutely coming down on you. Obviously, we're going to address the situation, address the problem, and get better from it, and do that rationally in a calm, cool, collected fashion.
So I would assume I've only interviewed Scott. I know you more personally. I know Scott too, but not like you. I would assume Scott's kind of the same way because I don't know that you would really be in it in the long haul with a guy who isn't like that. Do you know what I mean? It's kind of got to,
for sure.
Like minds, birds flock together. So where I'm going with this is you're down to the Rams. Things aren't going your way. How much does that demeanor on your sidelines help you guys dig out of that hole? Like, what's that like? 24-9, you guys are down, you're on the ropes. Rams, we know what's on the line. Vanier Cup's in Regina, so it's a Saskatchewan Vanier Cup. I know you don't think that far ahead, but listen, season's on the line. How much does that demeanor help you on the sidelines?
I think a tremendous amount. Obviously, I think I said it after the game. I think that was a big culture win for us and just showcases the kind of culture and the kind of staff, the kind of players we have in our locker room. I mean, it's funny. We're coming down at halftime. I'm in the press box and we're walking out of the press box there. And I see Jaden Marwick, the OC, who I'm buddies with at the U of R. And we're talking shop. I saw him throw. He was throwing some warm-up balls to the receivers. One came out as a quack. So I was kind of making fun of him for it. But it's just kind of like, there's the game, and obviously, like, there's highs and lows of every play, but collectively, we're not going to change whether we're up 15 or down 15 at any point. We're just operation. Obviously, play style has to change a little bit because you have to be more aggressive. But personality and the way we're approaching every play does not change whatsoever. So I think personality-wise, it helps a lot because, hey, we can be down in a hole and it doesn't really affect our overall demeanor as a team. So I was really proud of our players for just kind of staying even keel and just being operational and getting the job done at the end of the day.
Well, your Can West player, Daniel Weeb, what a season he's had, man. I mean, that Rider training camp obviously helped out. He's a faster Weston wrestler.
I don't want to put down Weston Dressler because that was my hero as a kid.
Oh, he's my hero too. He's my good friend. But let's be honest, like Dressler was quick. He wasn't overly fast. This guy's quick and fast.
Daniel Weeb is a different beast, I will say. And I mean, like, I can't predict the future. Obviously, we're just focusing on trying to beat Queens right now. But, I mean, this kid, he's a special player and a special person. I mean, hopefully I think he'll have a great chance of being on the Riders next year. Hopefully he does well in that situation. But, one, he's going to be a great player. He's an absolute baller. He gets yak. He breaks tackles. He can go up and get it. He's a great route runner, all that. But he'll be a fan favorite. I mean, this kid is he is a unique cat, and I say that in the most positive way I possibly can. But Goose is a one of one. Like, you talk to him in the media, oh, yes, yeah, just a very quiet demeanor guy, kind of talks like this, very super humble. He's from Herschel, Saskatchewan, farmer kid. Like, he's just a one-of-a-kind guy. So great player, but even better person for sure.
And Riker Frank, the Regina kid, he's a special beast too.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of funny. Obviously, we have a ton of fantastic players. But kind of your key mark guys right now for us are Daniel Weeb, like I already mentioned him, Riker Frank, awesome kid, engineering type kid, smart as heck. I mean, I was a sixth year taking this upper level math class, and he was a freshman helping me with my homework because he's a genius. Super nice kid, but obviously, man, he carries the mail for us a lot on offense right now, getting a ton of touches and doing a great job. And then defensively, you have Seth Hundaby, also an engineer. You talk to Seth in the media, he does not sound the way he looks and plays on a football field. Like, he's like super nice, like just happy-go-lucky, but he gets across the white stripe and he's trying to come with some bad intentions. So, yeah, we have some great players carrying the mail that are veterans for us, but also great people in our locker room.
RMF guy, Riffle Royal, U of S Husky, UBC Thunderbird, U of S Husky. But let's talk about, because I talked to Tom Sargent this week about Saskatchewan football. Like the Hilltops beat Okanagan after, ironically enough, coming back against a Regina team with the same deficit and came back and beat them in overtime. You guys come back, Rams, Huskies. Like, just talk about the greatness that is Saskatchewan. And the Riders are in the Grey Cup. Talk about the greatness that is Saskatchewan football right now. It's on display.
Honestly, I didn't even know the Hilltops. And I watched that game, but I didn't even put two and two together that we were down in the same deficit there. So I appreciate that. That is crazy. Man, I think we play a different brand of football than the rest of the country. And I'm not saying what other people do is bad, but it's different. Everyone here grew up playing football, watching the Riders. It's grassroots. It's great grassroots coaching. I remember when I was playing at Riffle, I was coaching with you in RMF for Ethan and stuff like that. Like, there's some great grassroots coaching, and people care about it in the community. And I do think that is transformational, and it shows in our junior programs like the Thunder and the Hilltops. It shows in our university programs like the U of S and U of R. And obviously, Saskatchewan Roughriders have a great team. They're doing great. Mark Mueller, OC, Regina Ram, Regina guy. Josh Donnelly, offensive assistant, Regina Ram, Regina guy. Tons of Saskatchewan Huskies and Regina Rams on the Riders. So I think culturally, the Rough Riders, they're intertwined personnel-wise with the province of Saskatchewan, which I think is awesome. But it's different. Kids grow up, they're coached well, they start playing football at 8, and they grow up wanting to play in the CFL. And I think that shows when they get to university and junior programs. They play hard, gritty, physical brand of football. And obviously we benefit from that, from some great grassroots football.
I think you're friends with Mark Mueller, and you have a high level of respect for Mark Mueller, and I really see you as a Mark Mueller type. I've said for years Mark Mueller is going to be a head coach in the CFL one day. You're an associate head coach of the Huskies. I think one day you'll run your own program, and who knows? Like, I think the sky's the limit for you, and I'm not saying that because, we're buddies. I'm just it's the way it is. But
I appreciate it.
If Mike O'Shea goes to Toronto, that's the big question. I don't know, man. If I'm the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, I'm maybe grabbing Mark Mueller before he leaves the stadium and say, hey, we need you for an interview, because I think he would be a great fit in Winnipeg. He's a prairie kid, grandpa Ron Lancaster, and a bright football mind. Look what he's done with Trevor. I told Trevor Harris 2 years ago, because we were sitting on the bus driving in downtown Vancouver. He goes, what's Mark Mueller like? I said, Mark Mueller is a dude. He's a great coach, great guy. You will absolutely love him, and Trevor swears by him now. So I would grab him if I'm the Bombers, if O'Shea leaves.
For sure. I mean, obviously, biasly, I know we're from Saskatchewan and whatnot. The Riders don't want to lose him, obviously. He's fantastic. But, yeah, Mark Mueller, I mean, talk about a stand-up guy. Like, he'll reach out, say congrats, ask if I need anything, never to hesitate to reach out. And that's Mark Mueller, man. Like, he's a big deal. Like, I'm just Mason Nice here. Like, he's just a salt-of-the-earth good dude and a great football mind. I mean, the sky's the limit for him as well. Like, he, once again, he's a hell of an OC, obviously, getting the team to the Grey Cup, doing a great job, but he's going to be a great head coach. And he's the type of guy that he could be selling insurance. He'd be the best insurance seller in the world. He's a dude that's going to be successful and great at anything he does. But, yeah, he'd be a great hire, no doubt.
It's funny, Borsa, I had him on. He said the same thing about you. Nice, if he was pumping gas, selling insurance, do whatever. He'd do the best of what he does. That's cool. Okay, so 2 more questions for you. Like, we've talked about this before, but now that you're kind of a step away, like you're Mr. Buffalo Bill. You've been to Vanier Cups and not won. Okay, sorry to say that's a little joke. I know that. Sorry, that doesn't go over well.
No, you're good. You're good.
No, but my point is this: are you pinching yourself? Like, you're arguably the greatest quarterback that's ever played for the U of S. You've played with lots of these dudes. You left, came up just short, and now you have a chance to get back there again. Like, what is your mindset personally here?
Man, I don't know if I'm just a weirdo or what it is, but I don't think about it too much. Truthfully, like, that's the honest truth. I genuinely don't. Man, it's just one of those things where success and winning, it's habitual. It really is. Like, it's something that you just do, and the more you do it, the more likely the success is to occur. And that's obviously done through a ton of hard work, culture. There's so much that goes into it. But I truly believe it's habitual and thinking positive outcomes. Positive outcomes are an expectation here. So getting back to a bowl game, man, it's awesome. With that being said, I have not thought once about, like, oh, we're back in here. We're going to, we're here. Let's get there. Like, no, it's just operation as usual. We're prepping for Queens. Like, we're prepping for the Regina Rams last week and UBC the week before. The operation doesn't change. With that being said, bowl games are different. Like, they just are. I don't think it's been since the 80s or early 90s or 80s was the last time our program played Queens. So it's like, we don't know them well and they don't know us well. So there's a whole different dynamic there of trying to familiarize yourself through tape and whatnot. But outside of that difference, it's really just operation as usual and just trying to get another win this week.
So do you sleep? Do you sleep under the desk this week more? Like, because you don't know much about them, I would assume you're putting in even longer days to figure this out. Or am I wrong with that?
No, for sure, you definitely are. You're trying to get as much of a tactical advantage as possible. Obviously, in a normal week structured, but with an opponent like we mentioned, we haven't played for 30 years of the program. So yeah, you're definitely putting in longer days. Kirsten's out here. She's out here this week. So I'm also trying to, make sure you're going out on some date nights, go check out some nice Saskatoon restaurants and whatnot. But outside of that, it's either I'm out for dinner with Kirsten or I'm at the clubhouse grinding tape. So it's one or the other.
Okay, so I'll let you go. But lastly, I got to ask the question. So you're grinding for 14 hours on this day, but you tell Flory I got to take her on a date. So where's the date? Like, where do you take her on a date? What's a good date night, man? Come on,
dude. You know what?
Won't be like your dad. Your dad used to take Mama to Blockbusters and watch the preview and then go to Costco for the little snacks. That's what Perry Nyes did because he was in radio as a poor radio announcer. So what do you do?
Perry's a killer. He probably wouldn't like me telling this story, but I know he met my mom in probably the Ceylon bar. I think he had sweatpants on, duct taped his sweatpants to his waist, all that good stuff. So he'd hate me telling that, but this guy's a killer. He's a ladies' man. But myself, we went to Little Grouse on the Prairie, a nice little pasta restaurant the other night.
Okay.
Primal's a good spot. go for a little walk around the river, some Saskatoon recruiting. It's a great little city for
There
some
you
date
go.
nights.
There you go.
But yeah, no, it's been pretty sweet. During Christmas time, obviously early Christmas, November, my fiance loves Christmas. Started watching some Harry Potter movies again. We watched Harry Potter 1.
Yeah.
So yeah, some stuff like that. But yeah, Saskatoon's good for some foodies and some walks by the river for
So
sure.
is your fiance out for like the whole, like, is she going to stick her, like, if you guys win this game, is she going to the Vanier Cup or she's only in for this week?
She came in for the Hardy Cup Friday, and her I'm hoping, I don't think she has a flight booked back right now, so hopefully she just stays until the end of the season, and we keep on cruising here.
Well, I hope you keep on cruising too. Listen, that wasn't a shot at you. I wanted you. You know me. I got my big Nias foam finger. I want you to win championships. And I'm a Ram guy, so I was split. Like either team I would have been happy with. But since you're the last man standing, good luck against Queens and hope to see you here in Regina. Okay, brother?
Thanks, Ballsy. Really appreciate it, man.